Hello, and welcome back. Welcome back to Homemade. I'm Bonnie, I'm gonna be your chef today, and in the chat with me is Mary. Say hello, Mary.
Hello, Mary.
Hello.
I'm so excited for this class. I've been watching you make some test tortillas up here, and I'm excited to eat them in about 45 minutes.
I'm excited
Amazing.
too. We're gonna crank it out. I want to just welcome you all. We're going to make a beautiful do-it-yourself taco bar today, which I absolutely love. And this is one you can do like in the middle of the week, you know, knock it out on the weekend, early afternoon kind of thing. You don't want to be spending all your time in the kitchen. You want to be doing like beautiful stuff in this gorgeous weather that we're all about to have. So I'm going to use this awesome P.A.N. cornmeal, and we're going to do it at the end because I'm just going to make you wait. No, because I'm going to show you the whole process from start to finish, but I wanted you to know that the whole reason we're doing this is so I can show this off because it's super cool. So this is the cornmeal that we're going to be using. The nice thing about this is it is 100% cornmeal. There's nothing else in it, and so that's great. And it's, of course, gluten-free because there's nothing in there that would have any gluten in it, so that's fantastic. But when you think about do-it-yourself taco bar or taco bar, like what comes to mind? I think of when I was a kid and they had like the crispy shells that you would buy.
I was just going to say the crispy shells.
You'd line them up. And
I remember almost getting paper cuts from the crispy shells. This recipe could not be more opposite from that.
Yes, this recipe could not be more opposite from that. But those are fond memories of, childhood. All right, so here I am trying to figure out the stove. I'm ready. Oh, let's see. This is my first time using this stove. It's pretty cool.
Anyone have induction at home? This is what we've got in the homemade kitchen.
It's on. Okay, let me tell you, first of all, if you have any questions while I'm cooking here today, just put them in the chat and Mary will shout them back to me. If you just want to tell me how awesome you are, I love hearing those stories too, like, oh, I knocked this recipe out last weekend and it was the bomb. Like, I love that, so bring it. I am going to make a couple things today for our taco bar to get things started. So we're going to do a chicken tinga. A little less traditional than the sort of meal version of tinga. We're going to do a chicken salsa verde. So that makes it fresh and bright and more appropriate for stuffing into a taco. We're also going to make some, this is a funny one. We're going to make refried beans, but they're not really fried, and they're not fried again like Re in Spanish is really re, and it just means like well. So like well-cooked, well-fried beans as opposed to like, I'm frying them multiple times. In case you were ever wondering, like, how many times are they frying my beans? They're not frying your beans. They're just cooking them again. So we're going to get to that in a couple minutes, and then we'll do all the fixings so you have some ideas about things to put out. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to start off with the chicken. I got my pan starting to warm up. It's not like smoking hot or anything. I'm going to add some aromatics. So first things up, there's going to be onions in here, and there's also some garlic. Really simple. I want to get some color in here just a tiny bit, not trying to brown the onions particularly, but I do want to cook them. If you add your fat after your pan has been going for a while, that's a nice way to go. See how you're getting some nice little ripples in the fat? I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but there's like little rippling in the fat. You see that when I tilt it? So that tells you it's starting to get warm. That's good enough for me. I'm not trying to cook these super fast. Onions are going in, but not the garlic. Save the garlic, because if you put the garlic in now, you're just going to have overcooked garlic. And overcooked garlic is not okay. I'm also going to be using a little bit of cumin and a little bit of dried Mexican oregano. Whatever oregano you have is great. Cumin is ground if you can. Get the seeds, toast them up a little bit, grind them in a mortar. If you're like, I don't have time for that, just make sure your jar is pretty fresh. And then oregano dried. You could put fresh oregano in here too if you had some in the garden, that'd be fine. I would throw the fresh oregano in now. Let it really release a lot of yummy flavor into that dish. All right, so get these going. Ooh, I like this stove. This is cool. I'm used to cooking with gas. And I mean that in all the ways that you can mean cooking with gas. But I like to see the flame, and I don't have a flame here, but I can see this is working. All right, so get them nicely coated. There's a fair amount of fat in there. It's just going to go into the sauce and lush the sauce up. I would say I used probably a tablespoon and a half. if you're keeping track. There is a recipe, of course. If you signed up for it, you'll get the recipe somehow. How does that work now, Mary?
Yes, you can find all of our recipes on our website. And stay tuned. We're revamping the homemade website in a couple of weeks here. It's super exciting. This might even be the first time we're talking about it on screen. But I hope that you'll all find it more easy to navigate, more exciting, some new offerings. Yeah, we're just getting stoked about it. So you can always head over to homemadecooking.com.
Yay. Also, when you say revamp, it makes me want to like vamp, you know?
Oh, I do.
And then you revamp, or Ray,
Of
well
course.
vamped, if we're sticking with the Spanish.
So true.
Yeah. Okay, so got steam coming. If you're curious what's going on with your onions, don't stick your face in the pan. Instead, get yourself down to the level of the food, like here, and then you're gonna waft. So just bring it up to you like this, so you can smell it. If it's still acidic and like makes your eyes water, it's not ready. If it's nice and melty and starting to get a little bit of color on it, that's great. So now I'm gonna add in my garlic. Garlic goes fast, so don't mess around here. And I'm gonna throw in my spices, boom. And this feels a little magic of television with all my little stuff on plates, and that's true, but mise en place your food, right? And that was a question we had, right, Mary? We were wondering,
Yes.
for my Spanish speakers out there, is there a Spanish translation for mise en place, like that French phrase where everything's in its place and you're ready to go? I'm curious what people have to say about that, because I always say mise en place. All right, so now I got all my stuff really well combined, okay? And last up, I got my chicken. So this is just chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And these are great because they, well, actually, I should ask you, why are chicken thighs so great?
You should ask us, all of us. Chicken thighs are great because I can't overcook a chicken thigh. As hard as I try.
You keep trying and it's just not happening?
Yeah, the chicken thighs hold up much better than chicken breasts. Chicken breasts dry out a little more.
Because what do they have in them? Fat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so fat's where all the flavor's at. So we get the chicken thighs because they have a lot of fat. If you want to use chicken breast, it's totally fine. It might end up being just a teeny bit dry, but that's okay. So these guys are in. I'm letting them brown for just a second in the pan so we get a tiny bit of color on there, but I don't want them to stick. And then I'm going to add in some salsa verde. So this is about 2 cups of salsa verde. And what I like, I don't know, can you get in there? I just want you to see like the little, can you see those little flecky bits in there? Those are the skins of the tomatillo, and they get blackened before they get processed when somebody makes salsa verde. So you get this nice smoky flavor, which is awesome. And so that's gonna give me the smoky flavor that I might get in a tinga from the chipotle, but we're not gonna use chipotle today, we're gonna do this instead. So in that goes. And now you basically just made like a lovely simmering sauce, and you didn't have to do anything but open up a beautiful jar, which I find deeply satisfying on like a Wednesday evening, you know? And now I'm gonna lift these guys up a little bit to make sure that they are not stuck to the pan, but I don't mind any little crusty bits. Well, that'll just give us a little more flavor. So these are essentially gonna just poach in this sauce. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit and put a lid on it because I don't wanna lose a ton of moisture. I'm trying to get this to be a little bit jammy. All right, so get your lid on and then figure out how to turn down your stove.
Huge. That's a huge part of the recipe, I feel.
I'm gonna go for 4 and see what happens. I don't know what that means, but let's try it. Okay, so next up, we're gonna do some beans. I'm using black beans for these. You could use pinto beans if you wanted to. Whatever beans make you happy will be fine. I drained the beans, so I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Drained. Beans are drained. They're not like rinsed, but you could even rinse them if you really wanna go crazy. But listen, these beans were cooked in the can essentially, and they have all of this like luscious, how do I do that best? You see that? All that luscious stuff came out of 2 cans of beans. Don't throw that away. That's the cooking liquid, and it's delicious. So you wanna have that wonderful cooking liquid to make your world work better. All right, so get some fat in this pan. again, like a tablespoon or so. The beans can be cooked with whatever fat you like. Uh-oh. Time for me to figure out the stove again. Hold on. Okay. The beans can be cooked in whatever fat you like. I would say most traditionally you would have rendered pork fat like lard, but you could have just any old vegetable oil. I'm using olive oil. I'm trying to keep this dish a little bit on the lighter side, but you can use whatever you got. Butter even if you wanted to. Why not? I don't know. All I have in the house is butter. That's all. You could also make them vegan if you wanted to and just do whatever fat makes sense for you. Okay, so this guy's heating up. Very similar aromatics. I'm going to use onions and I'm going to use garlic. And then for the seasoning, I really want to lush this up a bit, so more cumin. And the predominant flavor of cumin, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so unctuous and lovely, but it also sort of reminds you of a smokiness, the cumin, especially if it's been toasted and then ground. And then the red powder that I have here is smoked paprika, also called pimentone. So that is a wonderful way to add a lot of nuance and character to a dish. And so that's why we're going to use the pimentone or the paprika. You can buy this as a spicy one, or you can buy it as the mild one. This is the mild one. If you want to add a little bit of love in here, though, by all means, add a little bit of the spicy one. Just make sure you know who you're serving it to. Sad. Oh, I bet this one's hot. Let's try this again.
If we need to, we can grab our culinary producer Meg.
Oh, you mean
to do a little?
Oh wait,
a little live tutorial.
Working. Let's try this again, just to see what happens. It just turned off. I don't know why. Is that a normal thing? Just poof. Culinary disaster? I don't think so.
Culinary disasters are few and far between when we have this many ingredients for a DIY taco bar. We love it.
That's right. All right, so I'm going to get some onions in there, and when they start sizzling, we'll know it's warm. How about that? Again, don't get your garlic in here yet. Not ready for that. Just get your onions going. That'll be great. All right, what did you find out about people from the chat?
What did I find out? I found out that Erica's been watching us since COVID, which we love. How much oregano were we using? We had a question.
I think I used about
someone.
A teaspoon.
Yeah.
Not a ton.
And Mexican oregano versus Italian oregano does taste a little bit different.
They do. You know, it's interesting. If you ever walk through a nursery and they have all the fresh herbs and you can take like a little leaf off different ones and just get a sense of it and decide, or just smell it and decide like which one you think you want to eat. And that's a really interesting way to check out your herbs. The Italian is definitely a little bit different. I mean, it's on. It's coming.
It's okay. You have so many supporters in the chat, Bonnie. Steph said it's normal if it doesn't like the pot or pan size. And, of course, Janice, are you a doctor of induction? That is a great explanation. Oh. You don't feel the heat of the induction because the magnetic force.
Thank you.
Created is what creates the heat.
It's sizzling.
Yeah, I hear it now.
I feel better now. Okay. You know what? It needed me to take it up to 9 and then take it down a notch. That's what it needed. Oh, actually, let's do this. All right. So these onions are going to go longer than the tinga onions. I want to get some real beauty out of these onions. I don't want them to be burnt because burnt onions will make you sad. But what I do want is to get some color on them. You could let these go low and slow if you wanted. You could start them first and low and slow these guys. I'm just going to let them get a little bit of color, keep an eye on them, and let them cook down for a couple of minutes. In the meantime, let's talk about some of the condiments that I'm going to use today. When we serve these guys, we want to have like lots of pretty things that people can put onto their plates. And so one of my favorite things in the whole world is pickling absolutely anything. I love a pickle, any pickle. Pickle anything, and I will eat it. I love pickles. So one of the things I really like are red onions because they're on the sweeter side, right? They're gorgeous. They're beautiful as a garnish, and they give you a nice crunch and a nice bite of heat alongside, you know, your tinga and your beans, and we're going to do a little sour cream. So all of that's going to come together. So these red onions I just sliced up as thinly as I could. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to add some love. And love comes in many forms. In this case, it's going to be, can you guess?
Lime.
Lime. Lime. lime. Okay, if you're gonna get juice out of a piece of fruit, citrus, make sure you get the zest also. Just get the fruit, hold it in your hand, and draw it across, and then boom. You can keep an eye on what you're doing and not dig into the bitter pith. So I just keep pulling and drawing as I move my way around so I can get every inch of that delicious oily skin and none of the pithy part. Just gonna drop it down in my dish. But I do love accumulating it in here in case I want some zest for this and some zest for that. Sometimes you just want to zest around. But if you know that you're gonna need zest for something or you're gonna need lime juice for something, zest the lime into something. Even if you just like put it in a beverage or stick it in some salt or whatever you're gonna do. I'm gonna do another lime. And this one we'll use for the sour cream. Where's everybody coming in from today?
Oh, from all over. I saw some folks from, let's see, Arizona.
Oh.
We have Tina from Vermont, of course.
Oh.
Rich and Claire G in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Wait, who from Erie, Pennsylvania?
2 people, but maybe just one. Rich and Claire.
Those are my parents.
Oh my gosh, cute.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
No way. That is the cutest thing ever.
That is the cutest thing ever. Oh my gosh.
I love homemade.
I'm so
That's
excited.
So sweet. Okay, we've also got Arkansas, San
Arkansas.
Francisco. Kelly's from Tampa.
Did you say Tampa?
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice. Wow. Representing.
And then Janice from North Suburban Chicago. Wow, I'm loving these actually.
Wow. So the other thing I have here is some, thanks for sharing, y'all. I love hearing where you're from. This is some sour cream, and I just put some of the zest in sour cream. So that's like the zest of 1 lime in the sour cream, and then the zest of 1 lime in with the onions. And now I can cut them. Now I feel better about cutting them because I have used the lime zest. So give it a little roll. That helps to pre-juice it a bit. Let's check on the onions. Oh, the onions are starting to look good. So they're starting to get a little bit of color on them. I want more. I did turn the heat down, by the way, for my people at home keeping track of that, just because I don't want burnt onions. But you see there's a little bit of color getting in there now? You want to start to see that little bit of browning. And ideally, I'm going to get a bit more color. You could always add a little bit of, a little extra fat in there if you wanted to, but we're looking good for fat. Okay, so back to these guys. So you get your juicer. This juicer is so crazy. It does limes with the small part and lemons with the big part. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, I've never seen that before. I love it. Okay, so cut side down whenever you're juicing. In you go. And I don't know if you've ever done quick pickles. They're really fun and handy to have. I usually make them with vinegar. So I think it's pretty cool that you can do it with lime, right? Any acid will do. And we don't want anything super in-your-face tart because we have this tangy tinga sauce with the salsa verde already. So I don't want to have a super, super bright condiment on top of it. All right, I'm gonna do, at least 1 lime, and then we can check it out. I'm trying to remember if I have another lime somewhere.
I think there's one in front of you. Is that
Yeah,
the one
I'm
we
gonna
just
use. I want to
juiced?
use some for the sour cream too. I'm gonna do another half in here, and then I'll save the rest for the sour cream. We're good. All right. Let a little squeezy. Oh.
Lime delivery.
I wish you could see the magic where someone just like rolls in. Did you say you needed limes?
Mm-hmm. Oh well, we have a quick question from the chat.
Yes.
He asks, so I'm out of lime. What's the best vinegar to use?
Oh, out of
if you're
lime?
out of lime.
Oh, out of lime. You know what? You're not going to go wrong, really. You're not going to mess it up. I would lean towards something maybe a little less super flavorful for your vinegar because you're just trying to add some acid to soften the limes more than anything. What do you have? You could use a mild white vinegar like they make a white balsamic that's really mild, you could do something like that. I would be careful about going too crazy with the vinegar. I'm trying to think of what else would be good.
Ruby in the chat says leftover juice from pickles. From
Pickle
a jar
juice.
of pickles.
Sure.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Let's get
Very
scrappy.
pickly. I love it. Yeah, I guess when I think about it, the red vinegar is the one that really comes to mind as like very, very acidic. You can also always look at the jars of your vinegar because most of them will have a percentage on them. So that tells you actually how acidic it is. So have a look at that and see what it looks like. I think that'll help. All right, so now we have juiced all the things. This is just gonna sit for a beat. And after it's going, I'll probably taste it and see what it needs. But it's just gonna loosen it up a little bit and make it easier to like drizzle over.
I feel like people sleep on homemade crema. It is so good. It's better than sour cream.
It's amazing.
It's better than salsa, in
Yeah,
my opinion, which is crazy.
and it's quick and easy. If you're doing it yourself, it's just fantastic. All right, so I got these going. I'm going to get a little bit of salt in here and in here. That was probably 1/8 of a teaspoon, very little. Just enough to help encourage these onions to leach out a little bit of flavor. That's going to break down the cells a little bit too between the onion and the salt. The acid and the salt, and that'll make them a little bit brighter and a little bit softer, but they'll still have a bite to them and a crunch to them. And they're just so pretty. All right, so ta-da. Right? So these are gonna sit. We'll check back on them in a little bit and see how the color's going. And this guy's gonna sit too. The crema, the homemade crema. Oh, and now things are looking good. Okay. All right, so now my beans are ready to go into the pot. And I'm going to hold off on the juice for now because I really want to get some flavor infusion in here. Now I'm going to add some garlic. You can add the garlic before you add the beans, but I don't want to super cook it. I want to taste that little bite of garlic when we eat these. And then we're going to get our seasoning in there. And if it's going fast on you, just turn the heat down a little bit. You can always add a little pinch of water in here too if you're feeling like it's going too fast. Because if something's wet, it's just going to steam. It's not going to burn till that water's all gone.
You hear that, people? That was science. That was nice.
Yeah, that was science. Yeah, okay. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so I want these flavors to mix and mingle just a little bit more. I am going to add a tiny bit of water. Just a little. That was probably a couple teaspoons, not a ton. I'm not quite ready to put in my luscious bean liquid yet. Right now I just want to make sure all my flavors mix and mingle. And remember, you can always smell it because you're gonna know a lot by smelling. It's really your first taste. So remember, you get down here and you just put your hand here and you go like that. Don't stick your face down in something that's on fire.
Gorgeous.
A little waft. Waft, if you will.
Could we add seasoning to the onions? Haha, could we?
Yeah, absolutely. You mean beyond what I did or do it first before the beans?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, definitely. No problem.
Always.
These are going to sit for a little bit on the heat, so the flavors are going to mix and mingle, so you don't have to worry too much about how you layer. I do want to add a bit of salt, though. I don't have to add much because these were canned beans, so they're going to have some flavor in them already. If I was using, if I'd made my own beans, and I was one of those purists who doesn't add salt when I'm making my beans. Anybody out there like that? There's some people like that. There are others who like, what are you talking about? I layer all my flavor all the time. But make sure that you've got seasoning in there, whether it came out of the can or you added it yourself. Oh yeah, these look great. Okay, so got some steam happening. cleaned up the bottom of the pan where the onions were browning. See all that? That's what you want to see. Not a lot of moisture in there, that's okay. So we're gonna check on our chicken and then come right back to this. Oh, chicken. Chicken needs a couple more minutes. But it's close. All right. And it's juicy. You see the juicy goodness in here? I'm gonna turn these over a little bit, get the side that's not quite cooked down. And I'm gonna leave the lid off now because I wanna reduce this liquid a bit. I don't want it to be quite so juicy. I want it to get a little bit jammy because I don't want soggy tacos. There we go. And you can see like there's a little bit of browning from when we first put them in. That's great. A lot of times when you make a tinga with pork, chicken, beef, the meat gets really browned. Cut in tiny little pieces and it gets super browned, which is a great way to add some flavor. This one we're keeping a little bit on the lighter side. Also, what I love about this is that I didn't even cut the chicken. I just trimmed it got the extra fat off of there, and then we're just gonna use a couple forks to fix that. All right, so back to the beans. Now they're bubbling away. Because remember, the beans were cooked, but they were not warm. So I wanna heat them through and let those flavors really come together. Yeah, so now I can taste the cumin, or smell the cumin, get a little paprika in there, little caramelized onion action. Not super caramely, don't go crazy, but a little bit of love. All right, so now we're gonna mash them up. And that reserve liquid is there so that I can make them the texture that I wanna make them. As soon as I start mashing these guys up, they're gonna release a ton of starch, which is great. I love some starch, but that's gonna make it really thick. So when you make these, see how it's already super thick? So you gotta have some liquid on standby. If you wanna heat it up before you put it in, that's fine. It's not totally necessary, but by all means. And mash them as much as you like. I mean, some people will take an immersion blender to this and absolutely blend it through. Other people like a more rustic dish. So it's up to you what you would like to do. Does anyone have a preference? Do they like their beans with a little texture, or do they like them smooth?
That's like the same question as crunchy or creamy peanut butter.
It might be.
God, I'm really right in between. What do you guys think? Are we totally smooth refried beans, or do we like a little texture? Okay, I'm just seeing a lot of hearts. I'm loving that.
Yeah. I like texture. I like to know that I'm eating a bean.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. So don't overcook your chicken, but know you have a little leeway with your chicken thighs. They're pretty flexible. And if you just press on them, you can feel that resistance. Yeah, these are beautiful. So now I'm just gonna let it stew away a little bit because of this moisture. The chicken's gonna release some moisture too, so you gotta count on that when you're doing this. So I'm just gonna let this go till it gets a little jammy. I like the word jammy in the kitchen. I think it's a great way to describe a lot of textures that I like. Jammy goodness. Okay.
Here's a great question from Ismael. How do you know when the chicken is done?
How do you know when the chicken's done? Well, chicken cooks pretty fast, especially in a piece without a bone. So you could stick a thermometer in it if you want to, but these are pretty thin pieces. So when I press on this piece, right, I got just a little bit of give back. And if you're not sure about a piece of chicken, you can always take it out and just slice it and look inside. But these are all cooked. And they're not super cooked because I don't want to dry them out. But they are definitely firm and they are pushing back on me just a little bit. But if you're ever not sure, take a piece out and just slice it a little bit, and then you'll be able to see the inside. That's a great way to sneak a taste too if you're wondering how your flavors are coming together. Like, I wonder how this tastes. All right. So I think I'm going to go a little more on these beans. I think I'd like them a little more smooth. This is just a potato masher. Use whatever you got. You could blitz them with an immersion blender in spots too if you wanted to. Just be careful of putting an immersion blender in a hot pot. If you want these super refined though, I would transfer them into a blender or a food processor and do it that way. Oh, I love black beans so much. Pinto beans would be a great choice for this too, really delicious. But there's so many great heirloom beans out there too. So you can try whatever's around. You do want to get a little taste though. Make sure your seasoning's on. So I don't recommend, sticking your hand into a hot pot, but you can take a little bit of this off and then you can just give it a little taste. Oh, well, that's going to be just fine. Off. Yeah, I did practice with this stove, believe it or not, but not enough.
Induction has a
Not
learning
enough,
curve.
apparently.
I swear.
Well, it's funny, like, I grew up cooking on gas, and, my parents recently got an induction. My dad's like, I'm never going back, which shocked me. I couldn't believe it after all those
Wow.
years. All right, these are looking good.
I heard that sizzle. That's nice.
That was a little sizzle. Hey, could I have 2 forks, please? I want to shred this chicken. I'm going to let it keep cooking so it continues to cook down. But I do want to have a little bit of shredding action. I love this. This is amazing. Who you're not seeing right now is Meg, our culinary producer, who just secretly sneaks around and
No,
delivers
sort of Where's
forks.
Waldo
It's
a little
so
bit.
amazing. You all need this in your home. All right, so we're just gonna shred this up. I love that I didn't have to cut the chicken ahead of time. I love that I can just put it in here and just use 2 forks to spread out part these pieces. I think that's pretty awesome. So you're just trying to get like little shredded pieces. You're not trying to turn it into tiny little minced stuff. If you did want to have really small, more minced or ground, that would be fine too. You can start with that. But I like a little chew. I like a little texture in my taco. So we're just going to keep shredding this. I should have had Mary come over here and just be shredding while I do other things.
Just a shredder
Yeah.
person.
All right, so tell me what else. What other questions have we got going on here?
Are the pots enameled cast iron? I said yes, because I believe they are.
This one is enamel, because that's what I grabbed and it was pretty and bright. This one is definitely cast iron. It doesn't have a shiny enamel on it, but there is an enamel coating.
It is a really pretty pot.
Yeah, they're so pretty. When you're using coated cast iron, the real trick is don't heat it dry, because you're going to craze that coating, and that'll never go away. You can't fix that or clean that off. It's really just like shattered, broken ceramic. So don't let that happen. If you're all wondering now about that one pan that you don't use anymore because it has that crazing all over it, you can still use it. You're just getting a little extra iron in your diet. That's okay.
It's not okay. Awesome. That
Yeah.
means I don't have to buy
no,
anything new.
it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt you. It's just not gonna be pretty the way you wanted it to be when you bought it. But that's okay. They all end up looking, loved, well loved. I think we used a little bit more here than a pound of chicken. I would say this is more like 2 pounds of chicken, in case you're wondering. And if you have any concerns about your chicken, like you want to chop it instead of do this, that's fine. If you're worried that it's going to overcook or be grainy, you probably won't run into that issue with thighs. But if you have any concerns about it, you can always take it out of the pan and just cook the sauce down on its own. I'm just going to let it stay in the pan. It also, that acidity in the salsa verde really tenderizes the chicken on top of the fact that it's thighs. Oops, apologies to the ceramic gods as I scrape. But yeah, I had to do this pot because it was such a pretty blue. You guys, you walk into this kitchen here and there's just like a wall of stuff. And you just pull out whatever you need. Don't you like that when you open up your cabinet, you're like, oh, what shall I cook with today? All right. It's starting to get jammy. I feel like there's a song for this. Something about jammy.
I think that was the song. I think that was the song.
It's starting to get jammy, jammy. All right, are you getting excited about cooking your tortillas?
I know. Have we been we been doing enough stuff?
Yeah, we've been burying the lead a little bit.
Just because we want to be all hands on deck for the tortillas.
I wondered, has anybody made this? Did anyone do this before the class and come to class to get more?
Yeah,
tips
it sounds
and
like
tricks?
a couple folks did.
Oh, good.
How did it go for the people that made this recipe ahead of time? I know someone said that the chicken is excellent.
Yeah,
That's so good to hear.
so good. Oh, also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but when I did the onions, I cut them in just little half moons instead of finely chopped, because what I wanted was to have sort of that same shape as the chicken, just almost like a shredded piece of onion in there. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, Lena said it was delicious.
Good.
Love it.
Yay,
and fun to
Lena.
see you on YouTube, Lena. I know that's you.
Oh, this is the Lena?
This is the Lena. We love our homemade OGs.
That's so cool. All right.
Ismail, we would love if you made this recipe and told us all about it.
Yeah. All right. Getting jammy, getting shredded. So good. This makes great leftovers too, so I recommend making a lot. And if you want, don't even shred the chicken. Just shred what you need for your dish. And then the rest of it you can put on a sandwich or have with a salad. Like these pieces would be really great, you know, like in a little dish. All right. So you get the gist. I'm not going to shred every single inch of this just because you've seen me shred chicken now, and it's been fun. Okay. Tortilla. Let's see. Oh, this burner loves to turn off. That is so good to know.
It's like a first date. You're like, okay.
It's like, I think we're going to turn off now. Okay. So you've waited long enough. Let's knock out these tortillas. All right, so I'm going to take my amazing P.A.N cornmeal. I'm going to use the yellow right now. They also have a white cornmeal. They're both basically the same grind, really fine. I don't know how much you can see that, but it's really finely ground. So this means that you don't have to rely on lye to break down the corn. A lot of tortillas are made with masa, which is wonderful, but they use lye to break the corn down and draw out some of the nutrients. And this is so finely ground, I don't have to worry about that. It also means it's going to go a lot faster. So I'm going to use 2 cups of cornmeal. I'm going to get about a teaspoon, of salt in there, maybe a little more, just for flavor. And I'm going to add hot water to this. It should be like hot to the touch, not boiled. So I'm just going to run my sink until the tap is warm enough that it's a little too hot to have my hands under, and that'll be a great temperature. Hydration is like the trickiest part, I think, about this. So you're going to hydrate your corn, and even though it's finely ground, it's still going to need to sit for a little bit. So I'm going to start out with a couple cups of water.
And I'm going to throw in the chat right now, and perhaps a visual on your screens, about a little trivia question about our P.A.N sponsor.
Oh, cool. All right, so in we go.
I don't think Bonnie can see it, but I think everyone else can. When was the P.A.N pre-cooked cornmeal introduced as the first product of its kind on the market?
Can you see that? Should I move over here for the
Oh, no, it'll go over. You're
stirring?
totally fine.
Okay. I want you
What
to
do we
see
think? What do we think?
what I'm doing with this. You know what? Let's move it, how about here? Because this is off. I just want you to really see the texture of this. Yeah, good. Okay, so see how it's floury right now and a little bit damp? So it's going to really quickly soak up the moisture. The trick here is making sure you don't make it too wet, but also that it's not dry and cracking. So just work your way around the bowl. You can use your hands for this. I like to start with the spatula so I don't have super powdery hands. And I can feel it's kind of stiff and I'm having to work it a little bit. You're not going to need to add a ton of liquid, but you'll probably want to add a little. It's dry in this studio, so we don't have a lot of moisture in the air here, so I'm going to need to add more liquid. If you're in a humid place, you might not need to add more liquid. Liquid is always going to be your variable because of humidity. So I'm going to go like maybe another tablespoon or so. See how that works. See how that soaks in. And this will need to rest. So you're going to let your dough rest. For this one, I would say maybe about 10 or 15 minutes. It takes very little time for a grind this fine to absorb the moisture. So it doesn't need to sit for a half an hour or 45 minutes or anything like that. All right, and so when I pick it up in my hand, I want to see, is it sticking to my hands? No. Is it dry and crumbly? No, it feels about right. It's basically Play-Doh. It's like really good Play-Doh. It doesn't have any gluten in it, so kneading is not a problem. So once you get it to the point where you like the texture, you can start to knead it around with your hand. I also like to do that because you can pick up all the little bits that might be stuck in the bowl. And you guys, it's like the nicest texture. I can't even tell you. And it's warm. This might be some kind of like ASMR experience. I don't know.
I think it could be.
It's very nice.
Would you watch this as an ASMR experience? Home chefs. It would be the home chefs that would be like, God, that is all I want to watch.
I know.
Sound off in the chat.
I mean, that's the thing, though. That's the difference between all of you who cook, is you don't want to watch it. You want to do it. You want to be like, yeah, I'm ready to roll out some of that action. So this is nice. So see how the texture is really smooth. There's a little bit of the product on my hand, but not a ton. It's not sticking to my hands too much. So that's what you want to see. Now at this point, you can either cut it into portions now and let it rest, or you can let it rest just like this. So if I cut it into portions now, I would still take a damp towel and put it over the top because I don't want to get it dried out. I'm not going to cut it into portions now because there is magic of television. Dun, dun, dun. Da, 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 da.
Wow.
This is about half the recipe that I just made. I made 12 balls originally, but of course I cooked some for you. But I want you to see the whole process from start to finish. So, you see these guys? And today, if for those of you who weigh, these were about 67 grams, in case you're one of those people who's like, tell me the weight. Those are about 67 grams. You can weigh them out if you want. I just take the big ball, cut it in half. Then I got 2 halves. Those each have to have 6 balls out of them. Cut them in half. They're 3 balls, so you're all done. Okay. All right, so I have here a griddle, basically. If you don't have the capacity to have a griddle where you can have 2 different spots, you want a cooler spot and a hotter spot. If you don't have that, you can just do 2 skillets. I recommend, though, having 2 surfaces because it's nice to get the tortilla started and then finish it on the hot spot. You also want to have a tortilla holder or a bowl that has something you can put on as a lid and a towel inside, because tortillas aren't done until they steam. So they have to steam first before you eat them. And the other thing you need for this is really a tortilla press. They're really simple. You can get them at a good Latin market. You can get them online. And they look like this. And they're great. They have 2 plates that are fairly heavy. Some of them are aluminum, some of them are cast iron. They're really great. They generally have this, like, they're either cast iron, and so they're cured, or they have this nonstick coating. I don't care. Use a piece of plastic or a piece of parchment or a piece of wax paper. You just need something on there because the dough balls will stick and then you will be sad. So here's a dough ball. This, by the way, is just a cut up plastic bag. My favorite thing I think to use is like old, not old like ancient, but you know when you're done with your loaf of bread that you got at the market, if you take that bag, it's just like a really nice texture. Reduce, reuse, recycle, right? So here's these guys. They've been resting for a while. If it's feeling dry, you'll know it. When you have it in your hand, you can feel a little bit of the moisture on there. I'm going to take my other piece and lay it on top of plastic. I got my burners hot and ready to go. I'm going to lay this down, and just gentle. Don't press super hard or super fast. You'll get the feel for it. You don't want to have it explode. And then you have this nice, beautiful thing. And usually it's going to be a little thinner on one side than the other, so I flip it. And then I give it another gentle press, just trying to get right to the edge there. And then you're going to take this off really gently, because they will tear at this point. I got a hot spot here and a hotter spot here. So when you do this, you want to take your hand and put it on the back of the tortilla, flip it over, and then really gently remove this plastic. Right? So see how I'm just gently removing the plastic? And then this might be a little counterintuitive, but you're going to lay it down like this. Because if you try to flip it over, it's going to end up having little spots, or it could tear. And the thing you want to see here is, see how it's starting to bubble up a little bit? That's exactly what you want to see. Ooh. Now I'm getting an error. Oh, it doesn't like this. Okay.
It really is so finicky. It says, you bought me and I need to be used in a certain way.
I don't understand. This top burner just keeps turning off for some reason. I don't know why.
We're going to have Meg come in here and help you.
It just keeps turning off.
Okay, who's excited to see Chef Meg?
There she is! I told you she's real.
Okay, Bonnie, in the meantime, tortilla presses, tell us about them. I know you just did, but where do you have yours at home? Do you have one at home?
Yeah, mine's cast iron.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you get that little guy?
I got it from my friends at Amazon.com.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
sure.
It was made in Colombia. Yeah, I don't...
Oh my gosh,
I will
Rita
have to
says
just use the
she
one
knows
side,
those
unfortunately.
errors. Envelope induction, exactly, Rita.
It worked all day. That's so funny. You know, maybe it's because it's, I don't know. F is for fail, right? Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this. Yeah, so it's that the one I have is Colombian. I don't know why. That seems to be like a place that makes a lot of tortilla presses and cast iron, I guess. I don't know. But it's great. It's heavy, heavy, heavy. But also, like, I remember years ago just picking one up at a local Latin market, and it was cheap and perfectly fine. They don't last forever, but they're good. Okay, so the bubbling's good. So if your pan's really seasoned, you can usually just pick that right up. I like to make sure nothing's stuck before I flip it over because they're a little bit on the moist side. Once you get to that second side, get your next piece of dough ready. I'm sorry I can't show you the big puff. I'm going to have to bump this up.
In the chat, did anyone make these tacos and get the big puff? I saw Bonnie do this just about 45 minutes ago on her test tacos.
I was puffing up.
But sometimes people have performance anxiety. You know, sometimes
I think the stove has performance anxiety.
No, the tacos have performance anxiety. They're shy.
It's true. They don't always puff up. So what's happening there? Do you remember? We talked about it. This is your quiz. This is your quiz time, Mary. What's happening when they puff up?
Okay, when they puff up, this is what I was told before class. When they puff up, the lower heat allows for the sort of outside, not the middle, to cook a little bit. And then when you place it on high heat, the steam from the middle part cooking is what has it puff up, right?
Perfect.
I'm a scientist. Okay, perfect.
So perfect. I'm so committed to this. I I just want to see one more time if it's going to crap out on us, because I really want you to... Oh, nope, it's done. It's saying no thank you. It's saying it's been nice knowing you, but no thank you. All right, so that little bit of color is great. We're just going to end up cooking this all on one side, so apologies for that. But this guy's looking pretty good. It might get a little puff. See, little puff? It's just starting to puff a little bit.
Oh, E had a great tip from the chat. If you press a damp towel, it helps them puff up.
If you
I wonder, do you mean on top of the taco, E? Curious.
Curious. Shoop. Awesome. So as soon as you cook it, get it in your container with your damp towel to soak up the excess moisture. Let me do one more for you. I will say, you're gonna, if you haven't done this yet, go ahead and knock some out and then realize it just takes practice. You're just gonna play with it a little bit until you get there, and that is A-okay.
Okay, Ruby's saying if you press one side with a towel, it does the trick. I can't wait to test this even after our stream, too. We have a lot of dough.
Yeah, so
dough.
what you're doing, and I'm cheating a little bit because I'm using one side, but you can actually like press down a little bit on the edge to seal it up so the moisture doesn't sneak out of the side. And then when you go to put it on the hot side, it'll actually puff up more. But this is puffing up quite a bit just because now this is hot on the side. And this is definitely a homemade tortilla. And I wish you could smell what it smells like in here right now, because you can smell the corn toasting. And, you know, corn is full of this wonderful sweetness, and you smell the corn toasting, and you smell that little bit of sweetness and the browning that's like caramelizing that sweetness. It's just magic. It's just really great. This is nice in the summer, too. If you have one of those grills that has the grill plate on it, it's nice because you can often control the heat on that grill plate. Like one part might be warmer than the other part. Plus, it's just fun to like grill tortillas outside in your yard. All right, so there we go. Very pretty. And like I said, if I wasn't having some temperature control issues, this wouldn't be sticking at all. But I'm worried about sticking. That's why I'm going to use my spatula. Yeah, and remember, as soon as it lifts off from here, it's not really that hot. It's just a corn tortilla. So you got that, right? Nice and pretty. Okay. So I think we should eat some tacos. It could
I think
just
it's
be
only
me.
right. I think it's only right that we do.
It feels right, doesn't it? All right.
Okay, what a marathon. We have made so much
We are
this
knocking
afternoon.
it out. When I make this for friends, family, I like to just take the dishes and just put them on the table. Like lay out all your trivets, and you know you've got these beautiful beans like hot and ready to go. It's another reason I chose cast iron today too, because it's going to stay hot even though the temperature is off the burners. Oh, these need another minute. So I got all these great things going. I would have toasted my pepitas, but I'm afraid that I might not be able to get them toasted. So I'm just going to have these pepitas here on my dish. It'll be fine. And then I have a plate. This might be my favorite part of all of it. No, it's not. My favorite part is cooking it. All right, so you see all your stuff. Just going to lay it all out so you can see everything. You see all that?
Ooh,
so you got
beautiful.
your pickled onions. This is your crema, basically just some little bit of lime juice and a little bit of zest. I've got some pepitas here, so these are some pumpkin seeds. You've got your beautiful refried beans, and you have your gorgeous tinga. So all of this is ready to go, and of course tortillas. So that guy I can't eat because it's not ready, right? And the ones we just made, I'd give them a little bit more time, but luckily there is magic of television, and I did make tortillas earlier. Et voila. So I'm going to flip these over like that. So the ones we just made are on the top or the bottom now.
That has how many ingredients?
Douay. Salt and corn.
Love it.
Isn't that gorgeous? And you see how it's nice and supple now? I don't know if you can tell. It's like really soft and flexible. It's not going to break. And it's sturdy too. And it smells ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to put this on my plate. And now you just invite your friends and family and say, okay, come and get it. And they get to make it exactly the way they want to make it. What do they want? Do they like lots of beans? Do they just like a few beans?
Yeah, name your ideal taco. What's on it? I'd love to hear it in the chat. I'm curious to see what Bonnie's going to do. Let's see how it stacks up.
Yeah. All right, so just get a little tinga action in there. I do love this version of tinga because it's so fast, right? So get some of that in there. And see how nice that nicely shredded that chicken is? And then I love this. It's so good. All right, I'm extra crunchy. I got some beautiful radishes in here. Sometimes I throw the radishes into the pickling mix because they're nice when they're softened up a little bit. I just like that bite. Get a little bit of lime action. Get a little shred. This is the part that takes me back to grade school. The shredded lettuce just feels very fabulously youthful. And then just a dollop. So that's my dish right there. I always feel bad tasting it.
No.
Okay.
This is what we love. Let's
Okay.
make sure we get a nice close-up of all of those toppings.
Yeah, can you
Remy in the chat said, I simply have to put on everything available, which
Yes.
I agree is the right
That
ethos
is
here.
exactly right. Yep. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth.
Da, 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 da. You've worked hard for that bite, Chef
Girl,
Bonny.
this is amazing.
I can't wait to taste. Oh my gosh. What have we got?
This is lush. This is like tangy. This is tart and has a little bite. Creamy and delicious. Oh, a little extra crunch in there. It's really delicious. And instead of it being an afterthought, the tortilla is the star of the show. You are experiencing like the corn and the sweetness and the texture of the grain, and it's just magnificent. So a big old recommend on this one. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for supporting this beautiful experience of cooking with friends and family online. It's so great to check in with everybody from all over the country. This is the P.A.N cornmeal. I want you to go out and make it. You're going to find these products on Amazon. They have their own page, which I think Mary put in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Just did. Check it out.
Super delicious. And experiment and play around with some stuff. You don't have to get a press if you don't want one. Just roll them out, although get a press. I mean, it's worth it. And just go forth and cook. And thanks so much for being here today.
And check us out. We're doing surf and turf tomorrow, you
Oh
guys.
my gosh,
Don't
the
miss
Calabrian
it.
chili.
Check it out on our website,
Surf and turf.
homemadecooking.com.
That's going to be amazing.
And I've also put the link in the chat.
Yep.
That will be with Chef Krista.
Who's the
That will
bomb.
be super fun.
Yeah, thanks for
Okay.
being here.
I'll join you in just a second.
All right,
Thanks,
I'm going to go
everybody.
over here and eat my taco.
See you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye.